All right, welcome. So this is going to be lesson 9.2. I will have a copy of the lesson on Google Classwork, so check that out. For right now, we're going to get started. And it's lesson 9.2-2, and we're going to talk about something called decomposing fractions. All right. So right here, decomposing fractions. Right. And our standard today is I can use fraction strips, models, or algorithms to help me decompose fractions. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you an example first, and I'm going to have you try to figure that out on your own, and then we're going to talk about that. Okay. So here's the problem you're going to get. Karen has 11/8, and I'll write that down. Right? So Karen has 11/8 pounds of chili that she wants to put into 3 bowls. They don't have to be in equal amounts, but she just wants to take this portion, 11/8, and she wants to put it into 3 different bowls of different amounts, and they don't have to be equal once again. Right? So knowing that, how are you going to decompose that 11/8 into 3 other fractions or 3 new fractions? So I'm going to give you about 15 seconds to work on that. All right, what did you come up with? Well, here's what I did. All we have to do is we got the 11/8, and all we have to do is we need to break it up into 3 parts. And the really important part is they don't have to be equal. So I'm going to represent my 3 new fractions in these new red boxes. Well, here's a number that's easy. I could take 1/8. If I have 1/8 and I take it away from 11/8, I'll still have 10/8 left. Well, you know what? I can just put another 1/8 here as well, right? They don't have to be, but they can be equal. If I have 1/8 from this 11/8 and I have another 1/8 from this 11/8, how many 8s are left? I'll give you a few moments to figure that out before I give you the answer, right? So I'm decomposing this 11/8 to 3 fractions. I've already done 2, separated them to 1/8 because 1's an easy number. What's going to be my third mystery number that I'm going to break that 11/8 into? I'll give you 10 seconds to figure that out, and then I will give you the answer after 10 seconds. All right, so we got 11/8, we have 1/8 and 1/8. Well, there's another way I can write this down. I have 11/8, correct? And I've already figured out 2 fractions, so I'm going to subtract 1/8, right? And then I'm also going to, whatever the difference is, I'm also going to subtract another 8. So 11/8 minus 1/8, well, remember, we don't touch the denominators. That's going to be 10/8. Minus 1/8, which means how many 8s will I have left? If you said 9/8, you'd be correct. So my last split would be 9/8. Now, is your answer, the one that you came up with, is it going to be the same as mine? Probably not, right? But a good way to check to see if you're on the right track, well, we're going to add all the numerators. If we add all of these numerators, that should equal our what number? Yeah, if you said our original numerator of 11, you'd be correct. So I'm adding 9 plus 1 plus 1. Does that give me the numerator that we started off with? Then yes, your fraction would be correct, all right? So that's all we're talking about when we're talking about decomposing fractions, all right? So I'm going to go talk about another example. Except this one's going to be a little bit more confusing. But again, we're going to be doing the same thing we just did, which is we're going to be figuring it out on our own. We're going to be creating these fractions any way we want, right? So here, Charlene has a garden. And let me move this up. All right, there we go. Can you see that? All right. So Charlene has a garden. Right? And 1/6 the garden she can't even use. Now I want you to think about all the things you could plant in a garden. Right? So your list does not have to be the same as mine, but think about all the things you could plant in a garden. I can plant roses. I can plant pansies. I can plant lilies. Right? I came up with 3. You can come up with more. Right. So here's a problem. Charlene has this garden, and 1/6 of the garden cannot be used, but she still has these other 5/6 of the garden, and she wants to arrange this garden into all those different plants, and they don't have to be evenly distributed. They just have to be distributed enough where the remaining 5 portions are filled with these plants. Right. So if I want to, I can just say, you know what? That looks like a good place for a rose. I might say there's another rose here. I really like roses, so I'll put all the roses up here, and I'll put a pansy over here and a lily over here. Right? Do I have, are each of these pieces filled? Yeah. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna find out what fraction of the garden do each of these fill. Right? So roses, what is my fraction of roses do I have? If you said 3/6, you'd be correct. Well, some people might say, well, why not 3 out of 5? Because you're only using 5. But the whole fraction is out of a total of 6 possible spaces. Even though you're not using that 1/6, it's still how those are divided. All right. So when we continue to the next video, I'm going to ask you, actually, I'm not going to continue. This is going to be work that you can do on your own. What fraction of this will be pansies? What fraction will be lilies, right? Look at my example where I said 3/6, and I think I'm out of time, but that's all I'm going to say for now, right? 3/6 of that are roses, but what are the remaining fractions for those other pieces? And I'm going to end here. Bye.